Good afternoon, guys. This is Ms. Bates. I thought I would give you a little tutorial on using the databases and some of the resources at the CPCC library. I'm going to show you how to do this in class, but this is just a backup in case you, for some reason, aren't in class or if you need a reminder. All right, so if you can see up here, this is the address for the CPCC library. You can, of course, go there in person and have access to all this on their computers, but you can also access this at home in class, and I just thought it would be that's a really helpful thing. So the address is www.cpcc.edu/library, and it should take you to this page. We're going to focus specifically on the research databases, but I will point out here there is a link here to search for books and more, and you can also click on search the databases from this link as well. So we'll go ahead and click that. Okay, now I played around a little bit with this before. Here you can actually go to specific databases. They've got an A to Z list here and then a database by subject. And what that means is if you're in nursing classes and you're doing an essay for nursing, this is going to link you to databases that are just for nursing. But you then have to come down here and choose which of these databases you want to use. So unless your teacher has told you specifically what databases to use, that might not be terribly helpful. So we're instead going to use try ProQuest Central. And the reason we're going to do this is because ProQuest Central will search all of these databases at the same time and find you articles that may be hidden in any of these instead of just narrowing things down to a specific research. But I do recommend that if you're doing a class or a paper for a particular class, ask your professor, is there a particular database you'd like me to use? And then you can go in here and search alphabetical order for that particular database. Okay, but for right now, let's try using ProQuest Central. Okay. If you are off campus, they're going to ask for your CPCC library login. I've already logged in here, so it's not asking for that. But just be aware they may ask you to make sure that that you're legally supposed to use the site. They may ask you for your login information. Okay, so this brings you to ProQuest Central. I like to think of this like a big fat Google search bar because it's going to search everything, kind of like Google will search every website ever. This will search most of the databases that CPCC has access to. So it's kind of like a big fat Google search. So instead of doing the basic search, which you can do, I like to go in and do an advanced search. And advanced is just going to give you some more ways to narrow down your choices. So here, this is still your big fat Google search bar, all right? But notice here you've got this little drop down menu. Okay, it's giving the choice of doing and, or not. These are ways, fancy word for this is Boolean phrases, but these are ways for you to narrow down or expand your search. So let's do the sample that I did in class, which is school uniforms. Notice just like on Google, it will do an autocomplete for you. If you see down here that it's something that would be of use to you, you can. I'm just going to stick with the term that I'm typing in. Okay, so let's say I just go ahead and click school uniforms search. Okay, so notice this number here, which is terrifying. It is 1,117,000 and some change. Okay, that is way too many sources for me to look through. So we're going to need to narrow this down. The first thing we want to make sure is notice right here where it says full text, you want to make sure that that box is checked. Okay, what that means is that it's only going to give you access to articles that have the full article, as opposed to if you didn't have the full text, it might give you just a paragraph that tells you about this really great article that CPCC has no access to. So you want to make sure that you got the check for the full text. Okay, I'm going to go back to my advanced searches, all right, and then start filling in some of these boxes, maybe not all. So I want to do right here I had school uniform. So I'm going to try changing this search a little. I've got uniforms and schools. Okay, now the reason I did this is because if I have the and word here, this means it's only going to find me articles that have the words uniforms and schools in it. Okay, if I change this to or, this is going to give me way more sources because it's looking for the word uniforms or schools in any article. Okay, or if I click on not, it's going to only look for articles that have the word uniforms, not schools. So the not is really good if you're trying to eliminate some synonyms like chickens, not chicks, which suggests that you only want adult chickens, not about their little babies. Okay, so not's really good for that. But I want the term and. Okay, over here, just to show you what this does, this is where I can pick it where I want these terms to be, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that anywhere because that gives me a little bit broader options. If I click here, some professors are going to want peer-reviewed articled, which means that it's even more trustworthy, but I'll go ahead and tell you most of the stuff that ProQuest is going to come up with is already teacher approved. It's through the databases, which is already a collection of good sources. So unless a professor specifically asks for peer review, you can leave that blank. Okay, publication date. This is where you can start to get a little bit more narrow. When I was an English major, I never had to have dates because anything that was ever written about a book was true at the time that it was written. So I didn't need to worry about it. But here, if you're dealing with something that's a very current thing, you can narrow this down. Okay, so you can pick a particular date after this date, before, specific date range. I don't really care about that. I guess I could pick last 3 years, so it's a little bit more current. Okay, and then here I can narrow down what type of information I want. Notice that you do have a good deal of options. I'm going to go ahead and pick magazines, newspapers, let's see, scholarly journals, which is one of the big things that you're looking for this essay. Document type, this is going to be, I'm not sure, but you know, it's birth notice article, so you've got a lot of options there. I'm going to leave that blank. And then language, notice you've got a lot of options here, but I'm going to go ahead and click English because that's the only kind of article I can read. If you can read other articles, you are welcome to check a different box, but I would also include English in there as well. Okay, items per page, I can make it so I can see more. I don't want duplicate documents. I'm good on this one. And now it looks like I can click search. Okay, so notice instead of my 1 million, I have 130,000, okay, because it's found me articles with the word uniforms and schools in it, okay. So looking at just 1 through 50, right here, it's going to tell me how many I have in each of the types of sources that, that I looked at, okay, and it's already told me it searched for full text and peer-reviewed. So I want to focus specifically on the scholarly journals because that's something that I know that my research essay is asking for. Okay. All right, so now let's kind of start looking through some of our options. First thing you want to do is look at the title, Mitigating Diseases Transmitted by Aedes Mosquitoes, a cluster randomized trial of permethrin impregnated school uniforms. All right, notice how it highlights the word you searched for. Okay, well, that is about school uniforms, but I want to argue whether school uniforms are good or not. Okay, so this is about disease. That's not what I want. Okay, here, Frudden versus Pilling. Right, so that I don't know what that is, so I'm going to look a little bit more. Here, you'll see a summary of what is in this source. Okay, a school's mandatory uniform policy requiring students to wear the motto. The school instituted a mandatory uniform policy requiring students to wear a. All right, and I can click here and get more information on that. Well, that sounds like it might be pretty good. So maybe I'll check that one out later. All right, scrolling down, a general and uniform prohibition. Law, I won't go ahead and warn you, law articles are usually pretty long and pretty intense. Opinions of teachers and students on free dress code applications. Okay, that one might be pretty good. School discipline, school uniforms, and academic performance. Ooh, that sounds really good. School uniform, school discipline, students wear a school uniform, usually linked to the topic of violence. Ooh, this one sounds pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Okay, so if you see here, all right, I've got that title again. I've got an abstract, which just means a kind of a summary of what's in the article. And if I keep scrolling down, it tells me here comes the full text. So this means the full article. So as you can see, this is if you can tell here by the box, this is going to be a pretty long article. Okay, but every time the word uniform is mentioned, okay, this looks like this is going to be something that I might be able to use on my paper. All right. So if I think I'm going to use this one before I even start to take notes, I want to come over here and look at some of my options. And this is what I love about using databases as opposed to just a search on the internet, is that it gives me this fun stuff over here. Okay, I can click on download PDF, and so it's going to go ahead and download and save this document to a folder or to my desktop, wherever I want to put it. And now I have this article on my computer. So I don't have to worry about coming back and doing this search again. I've already got this article. That is awesome. You can also email it to yourself. So if you want to, again, have access to it at home, email it to yourself, open it up there. But this download PDF, man, that kind of already does it. You can save it, again, desktop, that kind of thing. You can print it if you have a printer in the room with you. You can print that. But my favorite thing is the Cite button. So remember how you have to do a works cited for any of the sources that you use in your essay. If you click Cite, maybe. If you click Cite, it gives you up here the citation style. We want MLA 8th edition, but if you're in a different class, they give you the other options, APA, Chicago, etc. But we want MLA, and then it's already done the citation for you. So what you can do is just copy and paste this into your works cited. If you go ahead and pull up a document that you're going to type your essay in, go ahead and type works cited. Go ahead and copy and paste that in, and you already have that works cited done, and you don't have to sweat it anymore. I love that. And that's very different than using a regular encyclopedia article, a internet article, because you're going to have to go and either use EasyBib or do it by hand, which aren't hard things, but it's not already done, and you know that this is already correct. I'm not going to be able to find a mistake in this. So that's pretty fantastic, and one of the reasons that I really suggest that you use the databases like this. Okay? All right. Give this a shot. Poke around with it a little bit. If you have questions, please let me know. Thanks.